Hello guys, today I'm testing Starfield on Valve Steam Deck. It's finally here. We've all been waiting for this moment, but is Starfield playable on the Steam Deck? Let's find out. I'm starting with a low preset, since we realistically can't expect the Steam Deck to handle these new AAA titles at anything higher. And we can see that this first part of the game seems to be holding a consistent 30 FPS, so there might be some hope. Just look at how good the low preset looks, guys. The higher presets really have to be a treat. I'm not going to add spoilers, so I'll just skip to right after we create our character, and those 30 FPS we were getting are just a dream. Right now the Steam Deck is barely hitting 20 FPS. I'm really disappointed. I just wanted to play this game on the Steam Deck so bad. And things get even worse when you engage in a fight with enemies. 18 FPS. What a mess, guys. Though I have to admit that the FSR implementation is just crazy. I really can't notice any of the usual FSR artifacts, and well, I managed to actually kill this group of enemies at below 20 FPS, which is totally unexpected. Okay, now let me hop into the ship and let's see what frame rate we get when we travel to space. Hopefully it's going to be at least 20 FPS. Well, indoors we do seem to get a bit higher FPS, but not by much though. Now let's take off, and oh, the takeoff animation looks so cool. And well, we're getting nearly 30 FPS here in space, which is good, I guess. It could be 40 FPS or more since we just have one planet on screen, so I'm not sure what's being rendered that can't make the FPS being higher. I mean, it's just the background and a sphere, you know? And the moment we fight an enemy ship, we are losing like 3 to 4 FPS. I'm not impressed with the performance so far. And here we are at another planet. This game reminds me so much of No Man's Sky. Just that in No Man's Sky you can actually fly in and out of planets instead of using menus and fast travel. I wonder why Bethesda decided to make it that way. It makes the game feel a bit dated in that sense. Okay, and just jumping around here and moving a bit, we can see that we're getting between 20 and 20 something FPS. So yeah, not playable. Well, I've actually played with these settings for over an hour, and I kinda got used to them, but this level of performance is far from ideal. Alright guys, let's see if we can fix this by lowering the resolution to 640p. I'm hoping that by reducing the resolution, we can get around 28 FPS on average, which would make the game playable. This is the same planet, just that I got in this warehouse. Even though we've lowered the resolution, I really can't notice a difference when looking at the Steam Deck screen. I mean, just look at how freaking good this game looks. And we're now getting 40 plus FPS, which is pretty impressive to be honest. I'm just going to fight a couple of enemies to check how much the performance dips, and then I'll move on to some planetary and space exploration so that we can compare. Well, the performance isn't dropping by much during combat. We're still well over 30 FPS at all times, which is good news. So I think we could use these settings to play indoors. The only downside is that you can't change the resolution from the game menu, and you're going to need to change the render resolution on your Steam Deck library instead. Okay, now we're outside the warehouse, and we can see a huge drop in FPS. We're now back to nearly 20 FPS. It's just a tiny bit better than before, and we're averaging around 23 to 24 FPS. But we're getting higher FPS on the higher and lower ends. But let's now get back to our ship and head for some intergalactic exploration. I just love the takeoff cutscene. It looks so freaking good. And in space, we're now getting a lot more FPS than before. I wasn't expecting such a boost here. The game feels even smooth in comparison. Yep, consistently over 30 FPS. But what just happened here? Now that we have some ships on screen, we can see that it had an impact on performance. And we're back to that sub 30 FPS level again. But we're getting higher FPS than before, though, I must say. Okay, so far we have that by lowering the resolution to 640p, we're getting 35 plus FPS indoors, and around 26 FPS when we explore some planets, and almost 30 FPS when flying around space. Now I'm going to check one of the bigger cities. I don't know if it's a city, it looks like one, or an airport, or something like that. Anyways, look at this. I'd say it's not that bad. Well, okay, it is bad, but it's just as bad as when we used 800p on a normal planetary exploration, and we're even hitting 30 FPS occasionally. Okay guys, now let's move on and test the game at 500p. Will we get a noticeable performance improvement? Well, now the game is playable, but texts are a bit difficult to read and you can really notice a loss in detail. On occasions, the image even looks a bit muddy, but it seems like that's the price to pay if you want to play Starfield at 30 FPS on the Steam Deck. This planet has a lot of vegetation, and we're still getting a really decent frame rate. So I can just imagine that on the less dense planets, we're going to be getting much higher FPS. Now let's hop into our spaceship and see what performance we get in outer space at 500p. So, we're right outside this planet that had all those little ships around, and the frame rate we're getting is decent. We can see that the Steam Deck is consistently hitting 30 FPS with an occasional dip below 30. But this level of performance really is an improvement over both 720p and 600p. And indoors, we can see that we're getting 40 plus FPS with these settings. And I think that during heavy indoor combat, FPS will drop though, but I'm sure the Steam Deck will consistently hit at least 30 FPS with these settings. So guys, I don't think it's a good idea to play Starfield on the Steam Deck at the moment. The performance just isn't there. Maybe after some updates the game can run a bit better, but I doubt it. For the game to be playable on the Steam Deck, it would need like a 35% performance improvement at 720p just to reach around 30 FPS. But well, the game might eventually be playable at 640p, and the difference between 720p or 800p and 640p isn't really noticeable if you're playing on the actual Steam Deck. At the time being, sure, if you bought the game and are going to play it on your desktop, then yeah, give it a try on the Steam Deck if you want. But I wouldn't buy the game to play exclusively on the Steam Deck. If you do, you're going to be disappointed with the performance for sure. It seems that the only hope left is to test the game on the Ally, but I'm sure that at 15 watts, it's not going to be leagues ahead of the Steam Deck. Maybe at 25 watts on the Ally, the game can be playable at 720p. So stay tuned for my next video. Well guys, I think that's pretty much it for today's video. If you found the video useful, please give it a thumbs up for the algorithm, and please subscribe. Come on guys, only 1% of you are subscribed to the channel. Having more subscribers would help me get early access to games so that I could share my videos with you guys right when a game gets released or even before the actual release. Goodbye guys, and see you all on the next one.